I apologize, I have note cards. As you can tell, I'm pregnant, so remembering a 20-minute long presentation was not in the cards for me today, so please do apologize if I'm staring down at these very frequently. As they mentioned, my name is Kristin Hathorn. I'm the Executive Director of Playworks North Carolina. We are a nonprofit organization that believes in the power of play to bring out the best in every kid. We are a national organization that has 23 regions around the country, obviously North Carolina being one of them. We currently serve 1,700 schools, or 1,400 schools according to this. We've gotten up to 1,700 and 750,000 students. And I'm here today, you may be wondering why a nonprofit is here, but I'm here to talk to you all about the importance of play, not only for kids, but for us as adults as well. And I'm also going to show you kind of the link between nonprofits and the business sector and how we employ a lot of business techniques in our growth and innovation strategies. So in the spirit of play, I'm going to start off with a game. It's going to be painless, I promise. I'm not going to make you all play dodgeball or anything like that. But this is a game called Stand Up. What's the name of my game? So we make all of the kids repeat the games at recess because, as we all know, children do not pay attention the first time. So this game, essentially what I'll do is I'll make a series of statements, and then if it pertains to you, you're just going to go ahead and stand up. If you're not feeling like standing up today, that's totally fine as well. Just make a sweeping gesture of some sort or raise your hand, something like that. So if you've exercised already today, go ahead and stand up. Very nice, all right. If you've ever been in a musical, go ahead and stand up. You can go ahead and sit down after you stood up. If you speak 2 or more languages, go ahead and stand up. If you watched the national championship game on Tuesday, go ahead and stand up. And more importantly, who was excited about the fact that UNC lost, go ahead and stand up. As my husband's whole family went to Duke, so I had no choice in marrying into that, so go Duke. Anyway, see, it wasn't too painful, but while it's still fresh in your mind, I want you to consider a few things about this. How was your experience playing this? Was it different? Because usually in these situations, I as the speaker have full attention. Were you paying more attention to your neighbors? Were you a little uncomfortable to stand up at certain questions? Did you kind of glance at other people and were surprised at their responses? Did you have a cognitive shift in that sense, where you were more attuned to what was being said because you were an active participant? And most importantly, do you consider this play? What is play? There's a lot of definitions of what play is out there, and I would consider that play. It was something that you usually wouldn't start off a meeting with, kind of got you laughing a little bit, maybe physically exerted yourself. For all those who haven't made it to the gym yet today, it may have gotten you up a little bit. But that's something in our area of work that we find. There's so many different definitions of what play is. And so if you look at the actual definition in the dictionary, it's a pleasurable activity undertaken for a non-apparent purpose. And there are several different camps in the play world. I know that may seem a little difficult to understand, but there are several different groups within the play community that have very different definitions of what play is. But at the end of the day, it's fair to say that most of the theories of human play associate play with the freedom of humans to express themselves openly and to render creatively the conditions of their lives. And in one article that was published about the nature of play, they made a very interesting point. In essence, play is often considered to be a respite from the necessities of life, a stretch in time when the normal affairs of the world are suspended. How many of us actually take time during the day to do that? And when asking that question, we know there's a lot of benefits of actually doing that. And we see kids out playing, but we as adults have kind of stepped back and stopped doing that, which is sad because there actually are a number of benefits that not only benefit kids, but actually benefit us as adults as well. We do know several things about play. We know that individuals who play frequently have good sense of trust and have a better facility for self-regulation and conflict resolution. In basics, that's good social emotional skills. And social emotional skills are not something that are often taught in schools. We also know that groups that play frequently tend to have similar benefits, such as families. If families go out and play in the backyard, go to a baseball game, anything, they typically have better self-understanding, self-regulation, and conflict resolution skills. We also have found that to be very similar in the workplace. So folks that are able to kind of step back and take some time to enjoy themselves as a group of colleagues, we see very similar benefits. So we know all of the great benefits, right? So why is play at its lowest level in our history? We do not play as a society anymore. Why is that? We see recess at schools taken away from kids in an effort to get standardized testing scores up, failing to realize that kids actually benefit academically from getting out and playing. We see people, individuals, adults, staying at work longer and not adding in time for their own activities that allow them to free their mind and step back from their responsibilities. So at Playworks, what we do is we try and bring play back to kids, which again sounds crazy given kids are kids and they should be playing, but that's something that they're not doing anymore. So we're not only trying to bring play back, but we're trying to bring it back in a meaningful capacity to kids. And we do so by placing a well-trained adult in elementary schools across the country who bring thoughtful play into schools. And this creates a safe environment for kids to feel like they can play actively and be social beings that they're meant to be without judgment, and they learn several skills as a result of that. Their cognitive behavior changes, they come back to the classroom ready to learn, they're a little bit more settled down, they resolve conflict better in the classroom. And we're not just making these statistics up. We did a study several years ago with Mathematica Policy Research Center and Stanford University, and we found tremendous results. Some of these results we actually weren't even looking for in our study. So we did a randomized control study of 29 schools across the country. 17 of those schools had Playworks programming with that caring adult bringing thoughtful play into the school, and 12 of those schools did not. And these were the results of the schools that had Playworks programming. We saw vigorous physical activity increase by 43%. And as you know, with the childhood obesity rising as it is, this is actually a huge thing. We need kids up. We need them active. We need them moving. 34% of the kids and the teachers responded that the kids were ready to get back into the classroom and learn. 20% of the kids actually felt safer in school, and that was a secondary result that we weren't looking for in this study, which was really impressive. And the biggest thing that was very interesting to us, given our programming doesn't really focus on bullying, was 43% of teachers reported a reduction in bullying. And that's huge, because we all know what a big problem bullying is in school. And who knew that simple play, thoughtful play, could reduce bullying? Here in North Carolina in particular, we do school surveys of all of our schools. We're currently in 17 elementary schools in Durham and Wake County, and we have 13 schools in Charlotte. And these are some of just the results that we found from our schools particularly. And the biggest thing to point out is the increase in instructional time for teachers. They gained back an average of 20 hours of instructional time based on our Playworks programming. And a lot of that had to do with the reduction in energy of the kids because they were ready to learn, they were ready to get back in the classroom, and that smooth transition from the playground to the classroom. So simple things like that can make all the difference in the world. as you can see, the data is pretty telling about the importance of play for kids. And we as an organization have done a great job of going into these schools and making an impact and making a difference with kids. But after 19 years in operation, we hit a little bit of a roadblock. We realized that our model, the traditional model of having a coach, a Playworks coach at every school, was not a replicable, scalable model on the scale that we wanted to see. And that was problematic. So back in 2010, we actually made a pretty big expansion as an organization, and we did expand into 23 regions. And again, it was successful in a small capacity. But similar to a business, our nonprofit needed to act very agile and grow with the need. And we were finding that the model that we were producing was not sustainable and not scalable. So we had to take a step back and think about how we could get creative and expand this to impact every child in the country. So we enlisted the help of an organization called the Billions Institute, which is based out of Los Angeles. And they helped us create a scaling model. And as you all know, the first thing that you need to create with a scaling model is an aim. And we kind of have called this being powered by Playworks. We want every student in the country powered by Playworks to bring play, meaningful play to them. So we created an aim. This is our aim. We will bring safe and healthy play to 3.5 million kids in 7,000 elementary schools by December 31st, 2020. And if you remember the previous slide, we were at 1,400 schools impacting 750,000 students. So for all of you know, that's a 7x increase on where we are today from where we'll be in 5 years. That's a big increase. And how can we do that with the model that we have currently that I just told you wasn't effective? It was effective, but not scalable. So we had to create, on top of this aim, we had to create our drivers. What was going to get us to that next point? We know we have programming that works, but how can we scale it to the point where we can get to this number? So we created drivers. Create and deliver an attractive invitation. Create multiple pathways to provide an experience safe and healthy play for kids, make it easier for stakeholders to adopt safe and healthy play, and invest in excellence. The key points that I want to show here is creating multiple pathways to provide an experience for safe and healthy play. This meant we needed to revamp our programming and add additional options. So our program team worked and developed 2 additional options on top of our traditional programming, because we found out that not every school requires the same intervention, and that was how we were going to scale. We were going to determine the intervention that was going to be most successful at that school and bring it there. So as a region, we had to create our own aim that would match the aim and objectives of the national group while adding to that national aim. So this is our goal right here in North Carolina, that we want to bring safe and healthy play to 180,000 kids in 300 elementary schools by June 30th, 2020. Now you'll see the dates are different because we run on a non-calendar fiscal, just for clarification on that. But you'll also see this is a huge difference from where we are. 17 elementary schools here in the Triangle, 30 total around the state. We're actually looking at a 10x increase here in North Carolina based on this. And again, how are we going to get there? We used all the same drivers as the national group. So now we need to employ the creative design that we spent time working on. We need to bring that to the schools in this area. And this isn't easy, right? So we don't know if these new programmatic offerings are going to be the end-all be-all for these schools. So this is an emergent strategy for us, similar to what you all will come in contact with. We need to be as agile as possible as we're going through this. So over the next 5 years, we're going to continue to morph this. If I come back in 2020, we could have online programs, we could have certification opportunities, all sorts of things to get to this aim. So we're acting as a business here. We're acting to meet our customers where they are, with the intent that we will bring safe and healthy play to each of these kids. But if we're gonna make this strategy successful, we can't just focus on changing the opinions of schools and changing the opinions of kids about the importance of play. So that's why we come out and talk to folks like you, because again, play impacts more than just the kids. And the benefits are seen by more than just the kids, but kids look to adults to make that change. So I want all of you, as you go back out into the business community, to make play a priority. When you go into the boardroom, start your board meeting with a game. It may feel really uncomfortable at first, but the response is going to be great. It's going to be the first time in a long time some of these people have had a positive interaction where it gets them laughing. Go out in your backyard and throw the ball around for an hour after class, after work, whatever. You will see your mood change. You'll be able to be more productive, and you'll be able to show other people just how important that period of time is. Even when you say that your schedule is so busy, you don't have time to do any of that, yes, you do. You don't have time to use a double negative to not do that. So I encourage each of you to take that philosophy with you as you go. And not only will that help you, but that'll help us reach our aim as well, because you can go out and you can be ambassadors for the importance of play. So thank you.